speak about a very important topic. We'll speak about the scientific forum of family cases at courts, and I think it's very important and vital to know more about the Saudi community problems and family courts and everything related to this topic for today in Sharing is Caring. But before we speak, let's start to welcome our guest, Dr. Nasser Aloud, Professor Nasser Aloud, Chairman of the Forum Scientific Committee, Professor in Clinical Social Work at Imam University and Family Therapist. Welcome, Dr. Nasser, and happy to be with us today in this very important topic, I think.
Happy to be here. Thank you for Channel 2 for covering this very important conference, and I would call it the big conference being held by the Ministry of Justice in regarding to the family issue and the social issue. We had this conference thought before like 1 year with the ministry, the Minister of Saudi Justice System here in Saudi Arabia, Dr. Mohammed Al Isa, has ordered me to come up with a conference that speak about the family issue in the court system. We all know the family issue is very important, and it's helped, and it's really are increasing in our court system. Statistics show that between 40 to 60% of those cases that come to the courts in Saudi Arabia are consisted of family issues such as child custody, alimony, family violence, divorce, and so forth. So with the Ministry of holding two previous conference, the first one was in the middle of last year. It was about social work in the court system, and we had the pleasure to cover it here also in Channel 2. The second one was about alternative punishment. We also did cover it in this program. Now we get the umbrella for those conferences, which is the family issue. We hope
was held in the last Saturday.
Exactly. It was closest yesterday with the recommendation session, and we hope inshallah in this show we'll cover it fully in regard to those papers that were presented and the objectives.
I hope so, to make the episode for today very valuable information to all our viewers to know more about the family courts and everything related to nursery cases and alimony and everything related to all the family courts and family issues. Tell us more about the important issues that we discussed in the forum, and who are the members and what are the goals of this forum, of course.
Sure, I hope the time will allow me to speak fully about this conference. This, as I said, this was a joint conference between the Ministry of Justice and the Saudi Society for Social Study at King Saud University. We thought in the ministry that we need a legal, academic, and community partnership with King Saud University. So we had an agreement with the Saudi Society for Social Studies as the King Saud University to come up with the ideas and objective as well as the scientific programs. So because of me as a chair of this society as well, so I have both role in the ministry as well as in the Saudi Society for Social Study. So we had formed a scientific committee consisting of 5 professors at the university. We had several meetings where we came up with scientific programs and mission and vision and objective for this conference. So we presented to the Minister of Social Justice, Dr. Mohammed Al Isa, and he approved it. And we start working like 3 months ago in preparing for this program. Our ideas in the ministry as well as in the Saudi Society is to come up with doable decision in regard to the family issue. We need to go with the theoretical decision. We need
to change the current laws.
Exactly.
Or what's your opinion to make?
Exactly. Not the current law, actually the current practice, let's say. The laws will be there, we will not touch it. There is because it comes from the Sharia and the Sunnah. But just regard to, for example, the child custody. The judge has ordered several decisions to be immediately paid by the husband.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the husband is reluctant to do it. And he doesn't have any system that push him hard to go and withdraw money from his account.
Problems. We speak now about the problems. So what kind of the problems you face as a professional in service work, in social work? What the kind of problem that you face in family courts and you have to discuss it in the forum?
Sure. Just example. As I said, there is a system that's really a court order for this person to pay the immunity for the wife and for the custody for the child. But unfortunately, there is no such system to follow up with this husband, for example.
Yeah.
You cannot go to his account and withdraw money without his permission.
Yeah.
You cannot stop him from traveling overseas. You cannot stop him from getting any services. So in this conference, we came up with a recommendation. That's order as the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Currency, to immediately, by the court order, the Social Services Agency in the ministry will order this person to pay the amount within 10 days. Otherwise, there will be a withdrawal from his account immediately without his permission.
Yeah.
I think this is a doable and exact decision.
Yeah.
So, as I said, this is just an example of what's happening in the current practice in the court system. So, although we have a shortage of the judge, like 800 judge all over Saudi, which is, I think it's need more, but it's not the judge problem, it's the practice. And also the judge doesn't have those supported around him. For example, he doesn't have social workers to go and follow up with this person. He doesn't have legal individuals who go with the paperwork and write it up and getting in summary for the judge to make it. So anyway, we came up with those problems, and we think it's consistent of 60% of those cases that's come to the court system. So we present to the minister, and he immediately said, we get to have this conference no matter what. So we had to have this conference in 2 days only. And he said, no, we need to add 1 more day. We need 3 days. This is very important rule. We need more session. We need more discussion. We need to give people time to discuss those important issues. So anyhow, we came up with 8 session in regard to those issues in family court. The first one was the Sharia Session. So we thought it's very important to allow individuals to listen.
I want to stop you, please,
Sure.
Dr. Nasser. I read the book.
Sure.
And it's very interesting and amazing, I think. But it's discussed many problems and many parts. What about the difference between the family courts and Sharia courts? Is it a difference in laws or in the type of the problems or what? And I want to speak about many problems, but at first, the difference between Sharia court and family court. And after this, we want to speak about a very important problem to all the women inside the community about the cases of nursery and al-Yemeni, according to them and according to the requirements nowadays. So please speak to us about the difference
Sure. between
these two courts, and after this we'll continue our discussion.
Very important. Actually, the Assembly of Justice, now Dr. Isa is controlling 2 things, the Minister of Justice and the Assembly of Justice as well. So, alhamdulillah, we get this to make it, the process is very fast in regard to those recommendations that were presented yesterday. So, inshallah, he will help us, inshallah, to get this in place within 1 year, let's say. So, it is a very important question. So, in Saudi Arabia, there used to be 1 court system, so where the judge sees every problems. For example, if somebody kills somebody, he will see him. If somebody hits somebody, he will see. If there is a family issue, he will see. So now they have divided in the new system. They were divided. So now Saudi, we will have the first family court system. So now all the cases.
It's a new court.
It's a new court. It's just like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. It was just approved by the Assembly of Justice. So anyway, what we are thinking, those family issue will be in one place. Will be in one judge. In the past, they used to be seen by different judge. For example, I go to judge and ask for child custody. Then the same case for me, I go to ask for immunity. Then if I have a violence, I will go to the different judge. Now you have like family medicine. For example, if you have family medicine, family medicine doctor or family doctor and MDs. Now we will have let's say, judge family, our family judge. So this will help to make a decision.
Yeah,
Also will help to make the partnership between us. I mean, he knows me, he knows my wife, and all that stuff. So anyway, yours is a very important question. So in those court system, that's what we are targeting. Those courts, it's called family courts, or individuals' personality issues. So I think this is will move those recommendations and this conference very fast, and we'll see it, inshallah, within, like I say, less than a year, inshallah, those places and those recommendations.
We'll discuss.
The first one was the Sharia session, where we thought as scientific committee to allow individuals to listen to what Sharia says about the amenity, which is very important in helping wives as well as children to get their funded and to live such as person once the divorce happens. So we came up with three outstanding papers. The first one was about the divergence between families, the family divorce, how it affects individuals, how it affects what Sharia looks at families, coherence and connection and all the stuff. The second one was I think that the very important papers was presented by Dr. Sheikh Ali. He came up with the idea that how much we give the wife. So, you know, currently it's for the judge decision. So, for example, he could do 100 riyals and he could do 1,000 riyals. So it's depending how does he look for individuals background and money. For example, if the husband is rich, he should allow more allowance to more amenity to be paid by the husband. If it's not, he could just control, review that, review it in the status, in the financial status of the individuals. The last one is about Saad al-Hikmani, which is a judge as well, and he's family therapy as well. He just worked with many centers making advice for wives and so he knows about the family issue, and he came up with his idea, what he looks like and what he thinks from the conference to be. This is the first session, and everybody will welcome the comments and question that was raised, and that's very important. Although we did not come up with how much should be paid. For example, we were looking for a percentage. For example, you get like 10% of individuals' allowance of wealth to be paid immediately after the divorce happens. But we cannot do it because Sharia says it's وَلْيُنْفِقْ ذُو سَعَةٍ مِنْ سَعَةٍ. The individuals will pay according to his financial status. It's not like a percentage. So they reject the idea. So anyway, it's still very important that Dr. Al-Isa in the opening ceremony has make it very clear that the Nafaqa box or Nafaqa charity fund, it's very important. This was the third recommendation that we had yesterday. What we're looking for is just to have a bank where we, as a social workers in the Department of Ministry, paid immediately for the husband, for the wife and her children once the divorce happens, if the husband is reluctant to pay it. For example, I will write a check, 1,000 riyal, for 12 months from the day of the judge make the judge make the decision. We will not wait for the husband and to follow him. We will say, okay, wife, give me your account number, and I will deposit the money, and I will make it every month for 12 months. At the same time, for this fund, I will go and follow the husband in the court and try to withdraw those money from him. Once they get it, I will go and put it in my account. The fund.
Husband refused or escaped by any way and didn't pay anything.
We will follow him legally. There is a procedures that was presented by Dr. Khalid.
What kind of punishment?
Not punishment. We had a procedures. Hope inshallah the ministry will approve it, and they will go to Ministry of Interior. You know, Dakhliya has control of everything. So we're looking to make the individual not to make any transaction. For example, he cannot travel. He cannot, for example, get a phone, cellular phone. He cannot go and have, for example, a drivers. He cannot go and renew his driver license unless he pays this amount. It's like amount due. I think with this decision, we will be forcing the individual to go and pay us the amount for this husband that we spent from our what called the amenity fund project. So this was in the first session. Alhamdulillah, I think it went successfully, and we got many comments and questions, and even it was like a change the environment. That's where the judge being there for years, they came up with the idea, they agree with this individuals, they disagree with individuals. So this is what we were looking for the first session, and alhamdulillah it was successful. The third session in the first day was about the social part. We had 3 papers. The first one was about divorce in Saudi Arabia and how to control it. The second was about the family reconciliation office and then the courts, which is a huge project.
Of course, you discuss this problem.
Sure.
We want to know the reasons of divorce and the percent of divorce in Saudi community.
Well, I think we did not cover the reason, because I think divorce is a fact. All over the world, the percentage of the divorce were not less than 15%, so from 15 and above. So yes, this is a fact. So you have to understand.
Very high.
No, but this is the fact. If you if you get individuals to get in this life, you have to accept the fact you get individuals to be out of this life. There is a fact about death and life, right?
Of course.
So at the same time, it's about divorce. I may connect with individuals, I didn't like him, so divorce is a solution. So then I go to different individuals and I connect with him. So anyway, Dr. Sulaiman Al-Aqil, Professor Sulaiman Al-Aqil came up with the idea that the divorce is raising in our Saudi community, but alhamdulillah, Dr. Isa and our report in the ministry has found that we had divorce being less 3% than in the year 1432 than 1431, which is 2000 compared 2011 to 12 to 2011.
Yeah, okay, what about the Offices of Reconciliation and its role in paying the love and to be the family return it back?
This is our huge project. This is where we really, gamble.
Very big effort, I think.
It's very important. The ministry the minister himself has, in many settings, in many media coverage, he said, this is where I'm looking for. The reconciliation process is very important, not only in Saudi Arabia, it's all over Saudi Arabia. He said it clearly. When that case comes to the judge, we will adopt what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said and the Rasul said. There is no question. What we are looking for, what we praying for individuals to do, is just to go and reconcile their cases before they come to the court. Please don't come to the court. Go to those family offices, reconciliation. So assume that you go to the reconciliation process. There is 2 persons will be out of this office. Everybody satisfied with the decision.
Inshallah.
But when you came to the judge, there is no question. One will be happy, the other will not be happy, because it will be either me and you.
Yeah.
So this is what we're looking for, the conciliation process. It's a family, it's a project, it's a huge project in the ministry, but now even with the practice that we do, without having an official office, without having trained individuals, we had successfully worked with the cases, and we almost between 40 to 60% successful with the cases that came up to those offices.
Inshallah.
40 to 60% of those cases come to the offices, went, agreeing on what decision being made. So alhamdulillah. So the last paper was by Mansour Al-Askar. He was coming with a project, is the preparation marriage project. It's very important. Many individuals come to this life and get with his wife, doesn't know what his wife said. How does she think? What the men thinking process? How does he, how do you control him? How do I talk to him? What he's thinking about my role as a woman? What he's thinking about my role as a husband? Those processes need to be learned. In our community, unfortunately, not educational, not even social. So we come and we get in this life by chance, by what we deem practice, by our friends' advice. Now, inshallah, in Saudi Arabia, with the Mawadda project and other project, we're looking for 1 week preparation programs for all individuals who planning to get marriage. in, for example, in next year.
As the awareness.
Exactly, awareness. So we get those programs. How does the women thinks? How does men thinks? What thinks you? How when to have a
But
baby?
before we speak about very important, thank you.
Yes.
You mentioned before about the lesson that if the person have the lessons to marry, that you have courses in the university to know more about how to deal with
exactly.
marriage.
We talk about it. Yes.
It's something like this.
Yes, that's what we had before. It's called marriage life and driver license.
Yeah.
So if in our role as a ministry, the minister also make it clear that there will not be, the minister will not approve any marriage contract without having this 5 days certification being shown in the same day of the marriage contract. So this is our role in the ministry. So the other role is just for the other university, our organization, to come up with this preparation programs, which I think it's huge. Statistics shows that in Saudi Arabia last year, more than 260 individual, female and male, get in the marriage contract. So it's a huge number. So we cannot train them in the ministry. We will only approve and go with a decision if it's being made by the higher court, that the high officials, that if this is being prepared, we will go with it and will not approve any marriage contract if there is no marriage driver license being shown in the same.
Dr. Nasser, I read in the book also about the family Takaful fund and also the family Takaful fund for tunnel divorced.
Yes.
What is the difference between these two funds?
Well, actually the same things, but in Maghreb, for example, Morocco, they call it family Takaful fund or family general fund. In Saudi Arabia and the conference, they call it the amenity fund. So we're thinking that we had from the Saudi financial ministry more than 100 millions. This will be deposited in the Ministry of Justice account, and the Office of Social Worker in the ministry will be giving the authority to write a check for all those women who've been in cases of needing money and their husband refused to pay them. So we'll just get the fund immediately in their account and we'll follow up with the husband. This is the two difference. But in Morocco, I said it's just different terms, but everybody just call it different. But we have since you talk about the Moroccan.
Of course. In the book you mentioned the Egyptian experience and the Moroccan experience. What are the difference and the advantages and disadvantages in these experiences, different experiences, and according to the requirements and the current issues in community, inside the community, what are the difference to use these laws?
Well, I think Moroccan and Tunisia and other countries were successful in making the amenity fund project because they really had it and they had it very successfully, and I think their experimental with it were outstanding. In Egypt, they have different. They were successful in making what called family office in the court system. Or what they call family social work office or family courts. Anyway, they had a great planning programs where the case will not be seen by the judge unless it's been by social workers or psychologists or family therapy. For example, any family issue will be direct immediately to the social work office in the court system or in the Ministry of Court or family offices in the ministry in the court system. So I think they were successful in trying to limit the number of cases that's presented to the case to the judge actually in terms of family issue, and they were successful. Dr. Mustafa Bakr has very successful in making the presentation clear that once you have those offices in your court system, there will be decline in the cases that's being seen by the judge between 30 to 50%. I think this is also agrees with our previous statistic that we had the ministry once we have those reconciliation office in the court system.
We speak about family courts and the women and rights and the Al-Yemeni and nursery cases. What about the issue of personal that be discussed, this point that be discussed in the forum? What kind of decision that be taken?
Sure. The fourth session was about the psychological part of it. So once you control the women and you try to press hard on the children, you just imagine currently, once the divorce happens, the husband and the wife will agree on the judge to exchange their kids in the police department. There's no way. Do you believe it? So I agree with my wife to go to the police department and we get the children from there. I give it to her and she give it to me back.
Yeah.
There is a police department. Just imagine how the kids will see himself and will react to this, because there is no such places. In Qatar, for example, in Egypt, and there is a centers for exchanging those kids. There's like social agency, which only its job for this exchange. If we get 23% of divorce in Riyadh area, what do you think? How many kids do we have? More than 150.
Yeah.
And all of them is being exchanged either in the court system or in the police department. So we came up with the idea that will be very hard on the psychological well-being of those kids and mental health as well. So Professor Mohammed Twajri did comment on this in his paper. Dr. Modi Zahrani as well. Professor Abdurrazzaq Al-Hamad, a psychiatrist, he also agreed on this. So they came up with an idea that this is need to be stopped immediately.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the fourth session, and we were successful in making this process. It was we had 3 papers, all of them presented by social work professionals and academics in the university. The first one was by Hassa Al-Abd Karim. She's from Prince Noura University. She had a great presentation about what's the role of social work office and the court system. She came up with the idea, the project, the diagrams, the connection, what's the role of social workers, how those offices will be helping individuals, what's the procedures in those courts in regard to social work professionals and practice as well. The second paper was presented by Dr. Al-Hamad Al-Hamadi. He's from Imam University, Department of Social Work and Sociology. He talked about the procedures for intervening with individuals in the court system. So, for example, if husband and wife came to me in my office, what should I do from A to Z? He came up with 3 stages. The first one was the prevention. The second was about after divorce programs, and the last one is just making the agreement on children in regard to the child custody. I think this is a great paper that if its rules being practiced by individuals and professionals in the court system, mainly social worker, psychologists, and social worker as well, I think will be limiting the number of divorce that comes up to this court system. Last one was by Dr. Majida Al-Najim. She also talked about the social work role in the court system in regard to the child custody. What's the children who's being stressed and being find difficulty after the divorce? Because who pays the price after the divorce? Of course, the husband, the wives, and the children. Unfortunately, what we have seen in the court system, and this is to be a fact, not only in Saudi Arabia, all over the world, the husband take this card, pressing on the wife, to allows him to anything, to just only to, he just play with the card of the children to press on the wife to withdraw all those cases. For example, some husbands said, I will not give you the children unless you give me the money back and my allowance that I gave to you in the first day of the marriage. Some of them said, give me your car, give me your car, give me the house. And the woman said, what should I do? I'm just loving my kids and I want to be with them. At the same time, I cannot give him what he wants. And unfortunately, this has been before even the court system. And the husband and the wife all the time just agree with us. The husband, unfortunately, really have no mercy for their children and for the husband. So we came up with the idea that we'll try to intervene in those cases and try to empower those women to say no and to follow up with this. So not only we try to just press them on their child, on their husband, but we will try to say, well, to help them how to make a decision. It's very important. Even the women who want to get married after like 3, 4, 6 years after having divorced from her previous husband, what they raise all the time: if you get married, I will take the children. Because the current practice right now from the judge, they follow the Sharia, which is we very respect, but they have no clue about the social impact of this. So what we came up with is just to allow the social workers, that's either female or male in those court system, to write a report indicating that their judge, if this decision being made, this is the consequence. If the other decision being made, this is what the consequence, and that's what we recommend. Those judge will take those reported, hopefully, very seriously, and will follow up with them. So hopefully, inshallah, with the role of social work will be, inshallah, clear more than what we currently practice because of the shortage of social workers right now. We didn't have social workers. We have only 30 individuals. So we're looking for 400. We're looking for a female as well. Alhamdulillah, the Ministry of Financial in Saudi Arabia have allowed us 300 female jobs. This is the first time in Ministry of Justice to have a female job. Just consider this movement. Alhamdulillah, I think we are happy with this. The minister himself is really happy, and we're looking, inshallah, more job for women to open the department, to open those isolated department for them to practice. Because we agree that women is the only help for their partnership.
Do you be sure that the women in the Saudi community will accept the conception to go to the family course and to give him the power to say no to her husband and to overcome the stage of life by supporting by family court, or else what kind of conception that you have to send it to her mind, of course?
I think you raise very clear question. The research has helped us. We get 2 individuals who searched this and the women, and they all agree. They said, we have no choice. We will go and find any place to help us and help our children. So it's not by accepting, it's not by shaming, because the woman, it's already in the dirty stuff. She's already been stressed with those decisions. So she has no clue. She will go and ask for help no matter what. I didn't care about individual. I didn't care about what family said. I will find a solution for me and for my kids. So there is no such procedures that's really clear for the judge to make the decision. Now we will make it clear for them. We will write a report and we will take a responsibility as social workers, because based on the individuals and the knowledge what we had before and in the university, we know what's the decision and the best practice of individuals. So we will give it to you as their judge, and you have to follow it.
Yeah. We'll continue our discussion with Dr. Nasser after this report, and we'll come back to complete, inshallah. Let's see.
Social studies indicated that out of 4 marriages, there is 1 divorce. The Ministry of Justice yesterday, he mentioned that also this is a good news. There is a decrease in number of social justice, and that's why, because of the introduction of social work in the courts. Before, when they have a problem and they decided to get divorced, before that, they refer them to the social workers. Social workers try to see the problems, to discuss the problem with the wife and the husband, and they are trying to reach some solutions before divorce. In that case, and as we know, many problems are family problems or marriage problems can be solved if there is a professional work in it, and that's why there are a decrease, and hopefully the number will also, will be more decreased. And this is one thing. The other thing is what happened if they decided to get divorced. And this is what this conference for, is discuss what after divorce, the results of I think the effects of the divorce on the kids and the society at whole. We are trying to alleviate this by discussing what could we give the kids, and what are the procedures that we can do for the wife and the kids after divorce.
Welcome back, our viewers. We're sharing a very important, vital topic for today about the forum of the scientific cases of family courts cases that we held on yesterday, and we have Dr. Nasser help us in explaining this very important issue. I want to ask you, Dr. Nasser, about the Mawada divorce prevention project that we discussed in the forum. Comment on this, please.
Sure. Mawada project was created and done by a joint project between several social agencies here in Saudi Arabia. This huge project was done by Professor Sami Dama. He came up with the idea that there is a procedures and a guidebook for prevention procedures, as well as its consequence on family and husband as well, and wife as well. So we thought in this conference to have this project being divided in 3 parts, and to invite Dr. Sami and his colleagues to speak about this project, because we think it's very important. Princess Sarah bint Msaad and Princess Modi bint Khalid and other princes support this project, and they were in the conference where the president was. They attend from the first day to the last day, because they think it's very important to support this project and to make it clear. This project were sent to Ministry of Justice, and it's in my office right now, where the minister asked me to write my ideas about the project. I think it's a very successful project, where there's a clear procedures from the day, the first day of the divorce to the end of getting the money for the wives. The project also came up with the Amenity Fund project. That also came up with the idea that's how the decision being made once the divorce once the divorce happens. It was valued by all the conference attendees. They value its content. They think it's the thing that's we're looking for years ago. Once it's being applied in the court system, there will be less cases to be seen by the judge. There will be less problematic issues and situation facing the wives and her children. Hope, inshallah, with this project, it was also in the recommendation. There was we adapt him. We asked the Minister of Justice to adapt this project to make it clear. The very interesting things in this project is just came up with the procedures named by the Minister of Justice, Dr. Mohammed Al-Isa. We didn't need anything to come up with as a procedures. It's already done by this project. What we need is just to take it for granted and to submit it for the king to sign it. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, we'll hope inshallah to see.
Inshallah. Dr. Nasser, you mentioned that you have a book guide or something like this in the project of Mawada prevention divorces. What kind of tips or points that we discuss in this book guide?
This is book guide will hopefully to guide those judges. If you get a to guide the judge and to guide the woman
and the man
and the men and the female as well. So once you have a husband who threatening you with throwing your kids, what you should do. So just like a cookbook, for example, what do you do in those situations? So I think it's very important that the awareness programs as well as the prevention programs are being presented and seen in this project. Inshallah, we'll hope inshallah this project will be adopted by the Minister of Justice as well as other ministers.
Inshallah. What about the consequences and recommendation of the forum?
Yes, this was the last session yesterday, and it was attended by the Director of Ministry of Justice, Dr. Abdul Latif Al-Harthi. He chaired the last session. I was there with Dr. Aziz Dakhil, the director of Saudi Society for just for the social study. Alhamdulillah, we came up with 18 recommendations. I think the first and most important thing is just to have a family assembly in Saudi Arabia for the family, to have all those agencies working for the family under one commission, let's say. So this is very important, to have a commission for family in Saudi Arabia. The second was also asking the ministry to come up with the huge department for the family as well, because as I said, 40 to 60% of the cases came to the minister. The last one about the amenity fund project is very important, and it should be applied. There's other recommendation regarding to the inclusion of social workers as well as female in the court system, and in the offices of the Office of Social Work in the court system. Recommendation about research, recommendation about exchanging ideas from overseas countries where they have a good practice. So other recommendation as well we're presenting in the conference. Hopefully, inshallah, people will see them in the newspaper today.
Do you take important decisions in this forum?
It was not a decision, it's just only recommendation, because all those conference came up with recommendation. In order to be made a decision, we have to send it to the Minister of Justice, in order to send it to the King Abdullah, and he will approve them. He has the mercy for this family. He has a big issue, big heart for the family. I think he will see good things in those projects, and hopefully, inshallah, will recommend them and will approve them to order, inshallah, to make them a strategic plan for our future in the ministry, as well as the Saudi Society for Social Study.
The Ministry of Justice catches this very important problem. From your point of view, what is the role of government towards family problems in Saudi community?
Well, the government is it's where the fund come from, where the resources, where the individuals, where the decisions. I think it's government is very important. But what we need is the higher commission for the family. When we have assembly for family or a commission, I think all those decisions, all those rules, all those practice will be under one umbrella, which is help us in making decisions very clear, very fast, and doable as well. So as a social workers, as individuals from this community, I think everybody concerned about Saudi family. I think the court system is not isolated from those concerns. Those judges, I saw them in the conference, they were really pleased us for this having this conference. They said, please help us as a social workers. We really need your help. Our heart is broken when we see those decision being made as a divorce, as a custody. So once you have those professionals, we need them. We really support you as a social workers in the court system. What we need is just a clear planning for you and other colleges. So alhamdulillah, I was really pleased to hear this from those judges. Everybody thinks different because the judge will be fighting with us. No, I see all of them support me, from the minister until the servant in those this court system. And hopefully, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us, will give us the attention to help to make this process seen and to make it a practice, to help the family to reconcile in order for the community to be...
About reconciliation, and asking about the role of the government, what about the role of the professional social service especially? I want you to make a work, Dr. Nasser, before the divorce, how to prevent the divorce to be realistic.
Well, divorce, as I said, it's a fact. You cannot,
But if the Office of Reconciliation do its effort to prevent this?
No, it's not. It's the Ministry of Social Affairs to make awareness programs. What divorce, what's the impact? You media, your programs such as Sharing for Caring, it's very important. There's many people who see these programs and she thinks about divorce and she may think differently after hearing what the divorce issue, what's the consequence of divorce. We need a clear understanding. By the way, there is like 60%, 80% of cases in divorce made in situational, not only in thinking. So all the divorce are situational, not problems in the family.
In the end of my program, what's your advice to all the women and men in Saudi community?
Hopefully, inshallah, we'll not see you in the court. If you get any problems, go to the reconciliation offices, call the hotlines, phone services provided by the Ministry of Affairs. We present it here. I could just give it to you if you want to. It's 800 number 124-5005. This number will help all individuals to get a fast counseling for their problems, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll not see the problem. But the problem is the facts.
Inshallah, we hope that all the women and men happily live. And thank you so much, Professor Nasser Aloud, Chairman of the Forum Scientific Committee and Professor in Clinical Social Work at Imam University and Family Therapist. Thank you for joining us for today. And to all our viewers, thank you. Until we meet again next Tuesday, inshallah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.